Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on lithium-ion battery. Where is the technology going? So, in this 1-hour session, we'll be mainly talking about the different aspects of the lithium-ion, like different aspects in the sense of the challenges that we are facing, or what we will be going to face in the future regarding the lithium-ion batteries or the battery technology in general. What are the challenges that we have in front of us in the adoption of electric vehicles, and specifically limited to the country of India, right? So, accordingly, we'll go through the challenges which are there, and then we'll take a look at what are the possible ways of solutions and how the industry is trying to solve the issues, right? So, this is what we'll be taking a look at in this session. So, starting with the introduction. So, as we all know, electric vehicle is we all know that electric vehicle adoption is ongoing in India, and right now, although it is not that at that very big of stage, but in last 2 years, specifically since the lockdown, right, and by increasing in the prices of the petrol and diesel, the oils or the fuels. So by increasing prices of the fuels, people are now shifting towards electric vehicle, which was thought of kind of impossible before that, right? Before, people were reluctant not to shift towards electric vehicle. Very few people were interested to use electric vehicle, mainly the reason being the cost, right? And in that cost also, the majority portion of the cost is taken by battery pack, right? So just to give an example, if you take Hyundai Kona will cost you around 23 lakhs, right? On-road price is around 23-24 lakhs after the subsidy, right? And for that vehicle, the battery pack cost is around 6 to 7 lakhs. So almost 25% of the cost is due to the battery pack, right? And similarly, it goes for all the vehicles, right? So currently in electric vehicle market, for the cost of all the vehicles which are there already in the market, majority of the portion of that cost is due to the battery pack, right? And that is the very first challenge that we have, right? So in that order, the government of India has started with a program that you can see being mentioned over here, National Program on Advanced Chemistry Cell Battery Storage, right? So under this program, the goal of this program is to be able to establish the manufacturing of batteries, advanced battery chemistries in the term of energy density, which we will take a look at in the further slides, what energy density is and all, and why is it necessary. But yes, for now you can understand that as you keep on changing the chemistry of the cells, the energy density of the cell will also change, right? Now that change of energy density, or the difference of energy density, is not necessarily to be a better change in the sense that we want a higher energy density, right? So that is not necessarily to be the case, right? So as depending upon the chemistry, it might increase, it might decrease, right? So the goal over here is to develop a chemistry where we will be able to store more and more energy. That means we will have more and more energy density in the cell, right? And in that order, we want those cells and those battery packs to be manufactured in India. That is what NITI Aayog is proposing under this program, right? We want those battery packs and cells to be manufactured in India so that we can bring down the cost, right? And for that, they have this program, and as a result of this program, by the end of next year, Tata Green and Okaya, right, all these companies are going to establish their own battery pack plants in India, right? So as a result of this program, right? So NITI Aayog is trying to assist in that way, right? But now this is about the first part, like we want to reduce the battery pack cost. So one of the ways is to make the batteries cheaper, right? So in order to do that, the simplest solution is to establish own manufacturing plant in our own country, right? In order to reduce the logistics cost and everything, right? So that is one of the solutions. But the challenge in that solution is, what is the capacity that we want to be manufactured? That is the major challenge. And what kind of battery pack do we want to be manufactured, right? Because two-wheeler will have a smaller battery pack, four-wheeler will have a bigger battery pack, right? In the range of kilowatt hours, 10, 30, 40 kilowatt hours. Two-wheelers will be 2 to 3 kilowatt hours, right? But if you go to trucks will require 600 kilowatt hours, right? Or 1 megawatt hour, so something like that, right? So we need to understand first that what will be the battery pack requirement in the coming time, right? So in that order, to understand this, first of all, we need to understand what will be the sales of electric vehicle in the coming time, right? So this is a model which was generated again by on the basis of ICCT's India emission model, right? So on the basis of that, the projection was calculated, like it was, the estimation has been calculated of how much sales do we want in the coming time, right, by 2030. Okay, coming time being the 2030, being the year which we are targeting. So there are two models over here, as you can see, which is mentioned in the table also. So we have a 30-30 model, 30 at the rate 30, and we have an ambitious model, right? Now, see, the basic idea behind promoting electric vehicle is to reduce emissions as well as promote green green mobility, right? That is the basic idea behind electric vehicle, right? We want to reduce the emissions, we want to reduce the pollution, right, and save the environment at the same time, right? So that is the goal which we are taking in hand. Okay, so ambitious model has been done by taking those parameters into consideration, right? So those parameters into consideration means, so as per the ambitious model, so every country has their own goal set of, like for India, for example, for India, the goal set is that in 2030 they want the pollution level 35% less than what we had in 2005. Okay, so this was a 15 years plan that India had made. According to the plan, they are executing all these policies, right, regarding the emission norms, may it be the emission norm of the IC engine vehicles, or may it be the emission norms or the emission policies for the industries, right? All these things are being implemented as per those goals, right? So the goal is to achieve 35% reduction in pollution as compared to what we had in 2005. Now, if we take that goal in mind, so under the ambitious model, you can see that by 2030 we want 75% of the electric vehicle, 75% of the vehicle in two-wheeler segment. Okay, in two-wheeler segment we want 75% of the vehicle being sold in two-wheeler segment should be electric, right, by 2030, and by 2040 100% of those vehicles should be electric, right? So as per that, by 2040 100% will be electric, like if we go by that same projection, right? Similarly, in that also, in two-wheeler we have the three categories: low speed, commuter segment, and high performance, right? And apart from that, we have a third segment, which is e-bike. So e-bikes are basically, or battery operated vehicle as we say, are the vehicles which are below the speed of 25 kmph, right? So those do not require any pollution check, or those vehicles, the vehicles below 25 kmph or 250 watt of motor, they don't require any testing to be done. Okay, you can, and they don't require any number plate basically, right? But above that, you require your product to be tested. Okay, so this is keeping in mind, so this includes those products which will be tested. Okay, so low speed vehicles, commuter segment, low speed vehicles meaning maximum speed of 45 to 60. Okay, then commuter segment being again the average speed of 60, like you can say in today's term, you can say 125 to 200 cc segment, that is commuter segment, right? Then low speed segment is again 100 to 125 cc, right? Then high performance segment will be more than 250 cc, right? So that is usually considered now in India, that those are considered under high performance, right? So ambitious model is taking those in mind. So 75% of them should be electric, which is being sold in 2030. Similarly, for three-wheelers and the other segment of the vehicles is also given. Now the interesting point to note over here is that for two-wheelers it is 75%, right? But if you come to trucks and buses, right, so they have very low values. So heavy duty buses, right, so only 8.7% of the heavy duty buses are required to be electric, whereas For light duty truck, it is 28%, similar to light duty buses, which is the normal travelers. Okay, but if you take heavy duty trucks, so again that is 10% by 2030 and 100% by 2060. So this is the sales projection as per the ambitious model. Like as per the goal set, this is the projection of sales that we want. Okay, and the next is 30 at the rate 30. Now in this 30 at the rate 30, what we are trying is that if we are selling 30% of the new products which are being sold is electric vehicle. So according to that projection, you can see we are delayed by 7 years in two-wheeler and three-wheeler. So that means as per the ambitious model, we want 100% electric by 2040, and as per 3030, 100% will be by 2047. So the very first challenge is regarding sales also is to improvise the sales, right? If we want to go by ambitious model, and if you want to implement the goal, right? Now this is a graphical representation of the same, right? And this again is for two-wheeler segment, right? So you can see that for ambitious model, and over here on the right side we have for 3030 model, and this graph is on the basis of the share, the percentage share, right? So you can see the commutator segment, two-wheeler commutator, right, which is in the range of 125 to 200 cc. Okay, so those bikes have the majority of the share in both the segments. Okay, like if you talk about in the numbers, not percentage but in the numbers, right? So those bikes have majority of the share, and hence you can see government promoting them as much as possible, right? That is why government is promoting them as much as possible. Similarly, if you talk about the other segments, so in the other segments also we have the majority of the share is taken by the passenger cars, right? Majority of the share is taken by the passenger cars, but over here government, if you see, government is not actively trying to promote passenger cars, rather they are focusing on the heavy segment. Like they are trying to include more and more buses, electric buses in their field, in their fleet. For example, if you take Kerala or Maharashtra, right, now Delhi is also in that segment, right? So they are trying to work on other segments in order to improvise the public transportation. Passenger cars they are not promoting completely because of the cost restriction as of now, which again is dependent upon the battery pack. Now that was about the sales figure, right? Now on the basis of the sales figure, why we are discussing about this is, as I mentioned sorry, yeah, as I mentioned, these sales figures will help us understand the battery pack capacity that is required, right? So the capacity of battery pack capacity, or how much bigger the battery pack is required in your vehicle, is actually more dependent upon the energy consumption of the vehicle as compared to the motor which is there, right? So the right, so energy consumption is more dependent upon the design of the vehicle rather than on the motor, right? So energy consumption, what energy consumption basically means over here, as you can see, this energy consumption, right? So what this basically means is how much energy your vehicle is consuming for a kilometer travel. So this you can understand in terms of what we call it as the fuel efficiency in case of IC engine vehicle, like in terms of kilometers per liter, right? In IC engine vehicles we say kilometers per liter. How many kilometers per liter does the vehicle give, the mileage, right? Similarly, in electric vehicle, it is on the basis of kilowatt hour per kilometer or watt hour per kilometer, right? So for each kilometer of travel, how much energy your vehicle is consuming, right? So for current scenario, you can see the two-wheeler is consuming around 25 watt hour per kg, right? Two-wheeler has 25 watt hour per kg, and thus an average battery capacity is 2.2 kilowatt hour. and which you can see in all the two-wheelers, right? If you take Ather also, Ather is having around 2.5 to 3 kilowatt hour of battery pack, right? The new one, which is Ola, right? Ola is also having a similar battery pack capacity. You take Tunwall, Ampere, right? Hero Electric, they all have almost similar battery capacity of 2.5 to 3 kilowatt hour, right? So if the energy consumption is 25 and my battery pack is 2.5, for example, that means simply I'll get a range of 100 kilometers, right? That is the average, the straight away calculation that you have, right? So depending upon the energy consumption, the battery pack capacity will also increase, like how much battery, what is the size of the battery pack that you need to provide to the vehicle. Right. Now in that order, if you see, so these vehicles have a very low energy consumption. Two-wheeler, four-wheeler, the normal passenger car will also have 150 watt hour per kilometer, which is considered to be low. But the challenge lies over here, right, in this segment, the buses and trucks, right? So if you see a heavy truck or heavy bus, they are consuming around 1.5 kilowatt hour per kilometer, right? And thus the battery capacity required is 276 kilowatt hour, right? So if you are able to keep 276 kilowatt hour, that means you will get a range of around 250 kilometers, 200 kilometers, 210 kilometers in this vehicle, right, for this truck. Okay, and so the energy consumption is really high, and thus the battery pack capacity required is really high, and thus the battery pack size will be bigger. Like you need to store that much of energy in the vehicle, right? And you need the proper space for that. Okay, so this is the first step in the understanding the challenge, that what will be the size of the battery pack required for each segment of vehicle, right? Now if we take, so accordingly we have the range estimation also. So in 2020, for these I will take the truck itself because they are the larger ones. So for truck in 2020 the range is 261 kilometers, and we are expecting a range of 400 kilometers. That is like desired range for any truck, right? Similarly, for if you go to the top towards the two-wheeler, right now you are getting a range of 91 to 93. Ola is claiming the range of 180 kilometers, but that is again in terms of IDC. IDC is Indian Driving Cycle, right? So if they are able to claim 180, they will be able to give you around 140, 130, something like that. Okay. So that difference will be there. Okay. So yeah, so for two-wheeler right now the average range is 91 to 95 kilometers per hour, right? Sorry, 91 to 95 kilometers, and desired is 150 to 200 kilometers, right? So that is also one of the points where the people are limiting themselves to buy two-wheelers. Although people are mostly buying two-wheelers, but they are still limiting themselves because they are buying two-wheelers for their daily commute, right? They are buying two-wheelers just because for their daily commute, right? But they are still relying on IC engine for due to the ease of refill, right? Like people are not afraid because of the range. People are more afraid because of, like, once the battery dies out, so you would have to wait for another 2 to 3 hours to charge the battery, right? And that is why they still have more reliability on the IC engine vehicles rather than the electric vehicles for the same, right? And thus we require, like, so one of the simplest solution that we have is to increase the range in order to reduce their doubts, right, in the segment. So if we see this, so now this graph will summarize the same thing about the battery pack capacity. Now this is again in the graphical form. So you can see three-wheeler will require up to 9 kilowatt hour of battery pack by 2035. Not 2035, by 2023 itself, we would have to accommodate 9 kilowatt hour of battery pack in three-wheelers, right? And for e-rickshaws, again, so the difference between e-rickshaw and three-wheeler is, E-rickshaws are at low speed. Three-wheeler is you can consider as electric auto. Right? They can go up to 60, 70 kmph. But e-rickshaws will not go beyond 35 kmph, 30, 35. Okay. So for e-rickshaws, it will be 7 kilowatt hour. Right. For two-wheeler commercial segment, you can see there also we require around 6 by 2030. Right. So this is how the battery pack capacity or the requirement will increase. Basically, not like in similar terms, the energy requirement will increase for the vehicle. Right. And similarly, this is for the heavy vehicle that we saw, right? So you can see by 2024, right? By 2024, we will be requiring around 90 kilowatt hour for buses, light buses, right? And by 2032, we will be requiring 30 kilowatt hour for light trucks. And this is for the heavy segment. So heavy segment, we will be requiring now. This is interesting, like for heavy segment we will be requiring up to 600 kilowatt hour, right? So this is a huge size that we want to accommodate, and this also becomes a challenge in terms of charging, because if you already have a battery pack of 600 kilowatt hour, that means the charging basically the charger setup. Okay, so your battery pack is 600 kilowatt hour, okay, and you need to charge it within 2 to 3 hours. For example, if you take 2 hours also, right, that means each hour you would have to pump 300 kilowatt hours. In simpler terms, each hour you would have to utilize 300 units of electricity. Okay. In simpler terms, 1 kilowatt hour is 1 unit of electricity. So you would have to utilize 300 units of electricity. Right. And at a time in bus depots, at least if 10 buses are also being charged at a time, right, so that means 3000 units. Okay. Right. So basically that also becomes a challenge in terms of the charger, because then there for bus segments like bus depots and all, the charger capacity that we are talking about is in megawatts. Okay. We want 3 megawatt, 4 megawatt, 5 megawatt of charger. Okay. Which will be charging at at a single time. And those buses will not be charging by a normal connector. It will be more like the overhead charging. Overhead charging means like similar to the contraption that we have in electric engines in train. So there will be a connector which will rise up attached to the main line of the charger, right? The buses will charge. So something like that would have to be done, right? Because if the charger itself is of 4 to 5 megawatt hour, right, or right, so that is again a challenge. Like you cannot manhandle that thing. So it will be almost like a power house over there, right? So these are the challenges that we have to face, right? And another under PMP mission of Niti Aayog, as I mentioned earlier also, there are companies which are coming with the solution. They are trying to establish, in order to reduce the cost, they are trying to establish, right? And one of them being Ola. So I will just show you this video of Ola Electric in relation to the vehicle that they have launched recently. Okay. So please take a look at this video. I think this will give you a better idea about how the industry is being shifted in India. Like it's not only Ola, Ather and all, everyone is doing it, but yes, I think this video will give you an idea.
What a beautiful planet we live on. You know, nature, especially for us Indians, has inspired us for over a millennia. The rivers, the forests, the mountains, all have been part of our culture and life. But our lifestyles are having a major impact on the environment around us. And I know this is not new for any of us, and all of us want to make a difference. The question is, how do we reverse climate change and also advance our development as a nation together? Today, vehicles consume 12,000 crore liters of fuel every year in India and are responsible for 40% of all pollution in India. To solve climate change, we have to get away from this vehicular pollution and we have to solve it. And this is what we at Ola have made our mission. To reverse this situation on climate change, we need a revolution. A revolution that we will start here in India and then take around the world. Just like the revolution that gave us our freedom in 1947, this one will give us our freedom from petrol. And this, where I am today, this is ground zero of this revolution. This is the Ola Future Factory. We are building the world's largest two-wheeler factory here in India. This factory will have 15% of the world's capacity of two-wheelers. We will produce 10 million scooters a year, or one scooter every 2 seconds. And this factory that we are building is also going to be the biggest building in India. It can fit within itself both the Mumbai and the Delhi airports. This scale is the only way we bring this revolution here fast and make electric two-wheelers accessible to everybody. And with our future factory, we will also usher in a new modern era of Industry 4.0 here in India. The past paradigms of manufacturing were built in China, but the future of manufacturing will be written here in India. India can and will be a leader in manufacturing products of the future in the factories of the future. Almost 80% of the vehicles we sell in India are two-wheelers. We sell 20 million two-wheelers a year. And yet only about 12% of our population owns a two-wheeler. And as we develop as a nation, we need to ensure many, many more people get access to a two-wheeler. But we can't make them gasoline two-wheelers. We need to ensure these are electric two-wheelers. Despite this huge market, scooters, which were essentially urban mobility vehicles for the youth, haven't been innovated upon for decades. These vehicles, the ones in the market currently, are completely out of sync with the aspirations of India. They're boring, dull, slow, clunky, and just don't represent the future. What's more, the electric vehicles, which we're supposed to build for the future, currently in the market, they're even worse than their ICE counterparts in almost every aspect. Our goal at Ola has been to build products which are both sustainable and also revolutionary compared to what exists in the market. And we've designed a scooter that has the best design, best performance, and best technology. Quite simply, it's the best scooter ever built. And we're calling it the Ola S1. Here, take a look.
Right. So this was about the Ola Electric, right? So the Ola, as Bhavish Agrawal, the CEO of Ola Electric, had already mentioned, they are building one of the largest two-wheeler factories in India. And similarly, not like why I've shown this video is because Ola is one of the examples which are doing this thing. So most of the companies which are coming in India right now are from the two-wheeler segment, right? They are from two-wheeler segment, and they are establishing and marketing mainly two-wheeler products because people are accepting those products. Right? Hello. Yeah. So this was the video about the Ola Electric. Like, this was a video about Ola Electric, and why I've shown you this video is because similar to Ola Electric, all the companies, like most major of the companies which are electric vehicle companies which are in India, are focusing on the two-wheeler products, and as we have seen evidently from the previous slides also, right? So two-wheeler is the most promising sector. Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think someone is. So I will request everyone to, like, please don't touch the console. Like, I think Advent is. So yeah. Okay. So yes, coming back to this. This was about the Ola Electric, and similar to Ola Electric, everyone is trying to do the same thing. They are focusing more and more on a two-wheeler segment, and at the same time, the government is also focusing more on the two-wheeler segment as well as the heavy vehicle segment. Heavy vehicle segment, because it is a responsibility of the government. You and I are not going to buy the buses, right? And right, and at the same time, the two-wheeler segment, because more and more people are accepting it and acknowledging it. Right. And similar to Ola, there are other companies also which are trying to come up with a factory. Although, as of current situation, Ola is the one which will be having the biggest two-wheeler factory in India, or as the Bhavi said, in the Asia itself, right? Right, and yeah, so all these companies are coming forward, and the plan of Ola for this factory is to build all the components inside the same factory. So including the battery pack and the motors and everything will be built inside the same factory. Right now they have outsourced the motor and battery production, and they are just assembling or manufacturing the vehicle, the two-wheeler, inside the factory. But very soon, while the other segments of the factory is being completed, so they will resume the production for those components also within their own premises. Right, and similarly, the Ather is also going in the same way, right? And government is also supporting them for the same. Now, this was about, so up till now we saw about what will be the sales projection in the upcoming future, and what is the battery pack requirement, right? As per those, what will be the battery pack required for the each segment of vehicle, right? The size of battery pack, right? Now, on the basis of that, we can now calculate what will be the gross battery pack capacity required per year, like including all the segments per year. How much, what kind of battery pack capacity we would be requiring in terms of production, like, okay. So that is, if you take the ambitious scenario, right? Ambitious scenario. So each year in 2020 we are generating 2.6 gigawatt hour, right? So this is gigawatt hour, okay, right? So 2.6 gigawatt hour, and by 2033 or 2030 also, if you take 2030 also, we will have to have 338 gigawatt hour of annual addition, right? So like each year we will have to have a certain annual addition, and cumulative requirement or the total production in 2030 will be 1114.1 gigawatt hour of batteries, right? So that is the cumulative production that will be required, okay, in 2030. Okay, we will have to produce 1114 gigawatt hour if we are going by the ambitious model, and if we are able to achieve that, so this is the requirement that we have, right? Apart from this, if you take by 30-30 scenario, 30 at the rate 30 scenario, right? So that is 30% production every year, increase in 30% production. So on the sales. So as per that requirement by 2030 will be 824 gigawatt hour, right? But all in all, what this means is that more and more battery pack will need to be produced in India. right? And we will be required to have that kind of production capability in India. Cumulative production capability. Cumulative production capability means not for a single company, but all the companies and all the manufacturing units combined. We will have to produce this much of battery pack per year. Currently, we are producing 2.2 gigawatt hour, right? But yes, through by 2030, we would have to increase up to the production of 824 gigawatt hour, right? So this is again the challenge that we have in terms of production. So this is just the graph for the same. Now, up till now, we are majorly talking about the battery pack size, the battery pack capacity that is required, right? And how much production we would have to make and everything. Like we are talking in those terms up till now, right? Okay. But now I want you to take to the second part of the challenge, which I mentioned initially also, being the energy density, right? So the energy density of the battery pack is also an important factor. So yeah, coming to energy density. So taking the example of the heavy truck being which requires around 600 kilowatt hour of battery pack, right? 600 kilowatt hour of battery pack by 2030, which will be requiring for heavy trucks. Now, one of the challenges was of the cost, right? And in order to solve that, the solution that we came up with was to manufacture in our own country, right? But if we talk about the other alternative is to increase the energy density of the battery, right? Energy density is so by increasing the energy density, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to reduce the number of cells, basically, right? So for example, if you take in 2010, right? In 2010, LMO was used by Nissan Leaf, right? And Nissan Leaf was using LMO, right, in 2010. So as I was mentioning, the energy density of the battery is really important, right? Because if we have a better energy density, we'll be able to have a smaller size of the battery pack, right? To give you an idea of that is you can just compare the battery pack by the petrols, okay, or the normal fuel. So a cell, usually, like if you see the cell which is most popularly being used right now is NMC, right? NMC 622. Okay. This NMC 622 is the cell which is popularly used right now. That we will be using for a two-wheeler. You can take the example of two-wheeler. So for two-wheeler, if the battery pack size that we keep, right, it covers the whole entire portion, like including if you compare to IC engine, the volume which is covered by the tank as well as the engine, that is covered by the battery pack itself. But if you take the case of a petrol bike, so petrol will have energy density of 12,000 watt hour per kg, right? So a small tank is enough to carry the amount of petrol required, and that too it will give you a much better range. So that is why energy density also becomes important. Right? But the drawback of increasing the energy density is that you will also be increasing the unstability of the cell, especially given that it is a lithium-ion battery. Right? Lithium is already an unstable metal, right? And if you are able to increase the energy density higher and higher, you are also increasing the instability of the cell, and as a result, the cell will have basically as a result, the cell is more prone to thermal runaway or some accident. Increase the energy density, the drawback of it is that the instability of the cell will increase and the cell will be more prone to thermal incidents, right? It might catch fire easily, right? And it might cause accidents also, right? So that is why it becomes another factor that comes in is that despite of increasing the energy density, we also need to keep the cell more and more stable, right? And as a result, now recently, about 2 months ago, this company named as CATL, which is one of the biggest cell manufacturers in the world, right? And they are the ones who are working with Tesla right now. Okay. So along with the Panasonic, so CATL, Panasonic, and Tesla, these three are working together to form a battery, like to develop the new chemistries and cells and everything, right? So the CATL has come up with a sodium-ion battery. About 2 months ago, they displayed their sodium-ion batteries. They haven't disclosed the cost yet, but yes, it is the cheapest, one of the cheapest cell, in the sense that because sodium is an abundant material as compared to lithium, which is a rare material. I'll just show you the comparison over here. So sodium is an abundant material, as you can see, which is given over here. This is earth abundant, right? And lithium is a scarce material. So being scarce, and most of the mines of lithium ion being already overtaken by China and other countries, right? So the lithium ion prices are very high, but sodium is available almost everywhere, right? So this reduces the cost of the cell itself. Yeah. For the same capacity of the cell, for sodium ion, the reduction will be around 70% reduction